Arsenal's dominance yesterday was from the get-go, starting from when Chelsea started to build their play from the back, as we saw Arsenal effectively press Chelsea into making mistakes. You can see from this clip here that Badiashile has been pressed effectively by Odegaard and has been lied to play a ball in midfield, and Arsenal immediately counter-press, used their pressing traps to win the ball, and now Kai Havertz is running towards the goal. And actually, in this position, if Havertz finished this chance well, Chelsea would have easily conceded a goal very early on. So yesterday showcased again why Mikel Arteta is one of the best managers in the Premier League, showcasing how he was able to dominate his former teammate and friend Maurizio Pochettino. Pochettino, on the other hand, looked quite tactically naive, and this showcased again why Arsenal are levels above Chelsea and why Chelsea are so far behind comparing with the traditional top 6 sides. And a ghost from the past actually haunted Chelsea, with Kai Havertz managing to net 2 goals against his former club. A player who successfully won Chelsea the Champions League in 2021 was the one who actually striked Chelsea yesterday and ended all their hopes of getting something in this match. Chelsea, on the other hand, was so disappointed, and actually they looked lethargic in attack, indicating more reason why Cole Palmer's absence was highly felt, with the team lacking directness in attack, lacking a player occupying the pockets of space in between the line, and lacking a clear, distinct player who could link the midfield and the defense together with the attack. And we're going to try and look how both teams played in this game. So Arsenal actually lined up with the 4-3-3 formation, with a notable inclusion of Thomas Partey, who comes into the team. Arsenal actually had their strongest lineup on the team, with Thomas Partey and Declan Rice adding that physicality in midfield, freeing up Odegaard to be more creative and more expressed on the pitch. And this actually made Arsenal so strong against Chelsea. Maurizio Pochettino was forced to pick a lineup that was not good for the team, and especially the key notable inclusions were Badiashile and Disasi, and Chelsea's backline was so shocking, and in the lineup everybody just expected the result to be what it is based on Chelsea's backline. Thiago Silva and Chalobah not picked, also indicating Maurizio Pochettino's mistakes in his initial lineups. Now, before we even start our analysis, I'd like you to like, share and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this, and let's dive right into it. So Arsenal, we're going to look at what Arsenal did in possession and why Arsenal was so dominant when they were on the ball. So Arsenal building up from the back was quite interesting, as they actually managed to play through Chelsea. So Raya would look to find either of the both centre backs, with Rice dropping alongside Thomas Partey to give Arsenal numerical advantages during build-up, with Kai Havertz also dropping deep further forward and giving Arsenal that box midfield. So Chelsea decided to sit in a mid-block rather than pressing Arsenal high up the pitch, because Arsenal would easily play through them. So Arsenal were forming that front 5, with Saka and Trossard holding the width, Rice and Odegaard playing the half-space channel, with Kai Havertz looking to play at the false 9 position. Now, this structure was outnumbering Chelsea at the back and pinning the 2 Chelsea pivots. Arsenal in possession would move into a 3-5, with Ben White tucking in and Tomiyasu inverting in midfield to play alongside Thomas Partey. And this generally gave Arsenal numerical advantages during their build-up shape. So this 3-5 system was so important for Arsenal, because now Arsenal could use their wide centre backs, and if Chelsea employed that 4-4 that they employed against Manchester City, Arsenal knew very well how to destroy this Chelsea structure by making Tomiyasu and Partey to spread out wide and allowing Odegaard to drop so deep to receive the ball directly from William Saliba. Saliba in this position was able to play a pinpoint pass to Odegaard in this position, and Odegaard will receive the ball with time and space. And when Enzo Fernandez will push forward to try and cover Odegaard, we saw Arsenal employing another great strategy, and that was Kai Havertz. Havertz will drop from the number 9 position and play as a false 9, coming short and deeper, ready to receive the ball directly from the centre back. And Chelsea's centre backs were not quite as aggressive to try and drop deep to cover Kai Havertz because of the runs of Bukayo Saka and Leandro Trossard. So in this case, we started to see Enzo deciding to sit deep to try and cover Havertz, allowing Odegaard to receive the ball deeper in the game and with a lot of time and space to try and effect the game. He will try to play the ball to Bukayo Saka to put him in a 1v1 situation against Marc Cucurella. So Chelsea decided to play in a much narrower system to try and cover this overload. But again, Arsenal had answers by dropping Kai Havertz so deep to play alongside Rice, Odegaard, and to try and form that 3v2 overload against Chelsea. You can see from this clip here the position of Kai Havertz, who has dropped from the number 9 position and is now trying to overload both Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo. And now Arsenal are able to play through Chelsea. You can see again Arsenal's 3-2-3 structure with only Saka and Trossard holding the line, with Kai Havertz dropping from the number 9 position to try and give Arsenal that passing outlet in midfield. And Arsenal also tried to create wide overloads by having Rice and Odegaard joining Saka and Trossard to overload Chelsea's fullbacks. You can see here Odegaard, Saka and Trossard are holding the width, with Rice and Martin Odegaard playing quite narrow, forcing the Chelsea's defense to be narrow and opening spaces in the wide areas. And this is how Arsenal utilize these wide area spaces, by using their wide centre backs to play the ball, especially down the right. Saka will receive the ball and look to try and dribble past Marc Cucurella. Again, this also was quite important because Arsenal like to create that right side overload by Ben White also trying to overlap towards the right, forming that triangle of Ben White, Bukayo Saka and Martin Odegaard. So Saka will try to dribble with the ball in field, while Ben White will be looking to try to make that overlapping run. And Odegaard time and time again was able to slip Ben White into these positions, though Ben White's final output in this position was not quite great, but he actually scored a goal through this technique, but his crossing ability was not that elite. You can see here Bukayo Saka receives the ball, he has drawn out Marc Cucurella, and Enzo Fernandez is keen to try and cover Martin Odegaard. But here is where Arsenal actually becomes so threatening, because now Bukayo Saka receives the ball, tries to dribble inside, plays a simple through ball to Ben White, and now Ben White is looking to attack Chelsea's byline with nobody looking to track his runs. Lucky for Chelsea, Badiashile cleared this out. So Arsenal were also quite aggressive. This numerical overload that was being created down the right forced Chelsea to actually shift towards the right, and this now opened a new problem for Chelsea, because now the other side, the left side of Arsenal was now open, because Trossard will hold the width down that area, and we saw Odegaard dropping deep, receiving the ball and looking to play those quick shifts of play. And now Trossard will receive the ball with time and space, and Gilchrist will be put in a 2v1 situation. If he covered Trossard, then Rice will make that run, and that's why Trossard was able to score the first goal, because now Gilchrist could not push forward to try and cover him. You can see here how Trossard is actually making that darting run and is not being able to be tracked. What about Chelsea? What did Chelsea do in possession? However, when we are looking at what Chelsea did in possession, we'll generally focus on how Arsenal were very good out of possession. So Chelsea tried to use the wide centre-back technique to try and evade Arsenal's press, and Arsenal had actually done their homework and they expected Chelsea to implement this system. So Havertz will move to try and cut the passing lane from Disasi, and this is something that Arsenal also did against Bayern Munich by using Havertz to try and cut the passing lane from the right hand side and force Chelsea to build down the left. So once the ball is played towards this right side position, we started to see Badiashile receiving the ball, and immediately Martin Odegaard will spring from the midfield position and look to press him. So when Odegaard will be pushing to press him, Rice will be pushing to press Moises Caicedo in this situation, with Bukayo Saka ready to spring out to press Marc Cucurella upon receiving the ball. Now this forced Badiashile to play balls in field that were actually caught, but we saw Arsenal covering all midfield options, and once the ball was played towards Marc Cucurella, Saka was able to immediately press him, and this forced a lot of errors, and in the first half Chelsea were unable to get out of their own half. You can see here Arsenal win the ball off Cucurella, and now Arsenal are looking to attack Chelsea directly, looking to exploit those spaces in between the two centre backs. Now this was quite problematic because now Arsenal were winning the ball time and time again, and so we started to see Mykhailo Mudryk dropping deep, and sometimes we started to see now Jackson looking to make that overlapping run, with Cucurella aiming to play those balls just behind Ben White. And you can see from this clip here how Jackson was actually trying to help Chelsea get up the pitch with making those diagonal runs in the channels vacated by Ben White. Now Arsenal, because they had already gone 1-0 up earlier on, decided to allow Chelsea to dominate possession, and their main aim was to try and make Chelsea make mistakes and hit them in transitions. So Havertz and Odegaard decided to just sit on Fernandes and Caicedo. You can see here from this clip that Havertz and Odegaard are sitting on the pivots as Arsenal are embracing that 4-4-2 mid-block, denying Chelsea any spaces in between the line. So Chelsea were quite stale, just passing the ball throughout their back four, and the lack of Cole Palmer again was seen because now Chelsea did not have players in between the lines. But down the right, Chelsea had some joy because they could position Noni Madueke to go 1v1 against Ben White, but Madueke would bypass Ben White only to cross the ball to a box which was not flooded with Chelsea's players, again indicating why Cole Palmer was highly missed, because he likes to make those late runs and Gallagher was just trying to drop deeper. So Gilchrist, unlike Gusto, is not quite a player who looked to play 1-2s with the winger the way Gusto was, and therefore Gilchrist majority of the time would stay deeper, further limiting Chelsea's attacking threat through the wide areas and through the use of their fullbacks. Now down the left hand side it was interesting because now Mudryk will tack in and Marc Cucurella will be looking to overlap, but Cucurella is not a great overlapping fullback, as well as Mudryk, who was caught time and time again in possession and lost the ball in these kinds of areas, making Arsenal hit Chelsea with devastating counter-attacks. Mikel Arteta will be happy with the performance that he has, and currently he is close to around 6 points. He's around 4 points ahead of Manchester City, who are yet to play 2 games in hands, but Arsenal have done their job. They've actually won the games they needed to win, and now the onus is on the other 2 title challengers. Questions continue to be raised about Mauricio Pochettino, with a lot of fans and a lot of people in the footballing space calling for his immediate termination, because Mauricio Pochettino seems not to be tactically able to get the best out of this team, and his press conferences are also making matters extremely worse for Chelsea. Questions are continuing to be asked about his team selections, his overall tactics, and his inability to make changes in game. So if you've liked this analysis, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.